Kia ora, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Suisuiki. Coming up, Norfolk Island will hold its election on New Year's Day. Also, plans to build a Pasifika fale on Wellington's waterfront are in the works. And
I was so happy to see everybody out there. I was just a little nervous.
young Cook Islanders take to the stage. A community-led election will be held on New Year's Day on Norfolk Island. The President of the Norfolk Council of Elders, Dr. Pauline Reynolds, explained to Moira Tulepa Taylor about Norfolk Island's 1838 Pitcairn Constitution.
This is a really empowering and deeply historical and unifying event. So the 1838 Pitcairn Island Constitution was drafted by our ancestors, who were the Anglo-Polynesian people of Pitcairn Island. So they were the children and grandchildren of Tahitian mothers and British mutineer fathers. And then in 1856, those people carried that constitution when they relocated to Norfolk Island. And it gave our community a lawful framework for self-governance, which was recognised by the British Crown. So by reaffirming that now, we're honouring that heritage while restoring a transparent and really a community-led government that reflects our culture.
Can you explain the community-led election, and does the date have a special meaning?
Yeah, so the Council of Elders is actually facilitating this election to ensure that it's fair and transparent and, as I said, community-led. And every eligible resident can stand for office or vote, so the process belongs to the people. And the date, the 1st of January, is important. It's the date that the 1838 Constitution marked for election. And for us today, the 1st of January 2026, will really mark a new year and a new chapter, a fresh beginning for the Norfolk Island governance that honours our past, but while looking forward.
I know there had been some friction in the past after Canberra assumed direct control over Norfolk Island, which largely managed its own affairs since 1979. How is that relationship now?
Yeah, look, it's true. There has been friction and disappointment since Canberra assumed direct control in 2015. After Norfolk Island had largely managed its own affairs since 1979. But our focus is actually not on conflict at all. It's on building respectful arrangements that serve Norfolk Island's needs. And we want a relationship with Australia that's cooperative and transparent, where the community's voice is heard and our heritage is respected. And this election is about strengthening our own governance so we can engage with Australia and other places from a position of dignity and unity.
Who can stand in the election?
The people that can stand in election, because we have to follow the Pitcairn 1838 Constitution, this first one will have to follow those rules. So to vote, you have to be 18 and you have to have lived on Norfolk Island for 5 years, or have been born on Norfolk Island or Pitcairn Island and be of Pitcairn descent. So that's to vote. But to stand, you have to be over 18, be a native-born Norfolk Islander, which means you need to have be of Pitcairn descent and be born on Norfolk Island. Basically, that's just to ratify the 1838 Constitution. But the first job of those that are elected in will be to modernise that constitution to make it more inclusive.
A Pacific climate change advocate says there's hope that the International Court of Justice's landmark advisory opinion will increasingly shape global policy. The UN's highest court issued a stinging ruling that countries have a legal obligation to limit climate change and provide restitution for harm caused. Vishal Prasad, who was at COP30 in Brazil last month, told Jamie Tahana that there was a huge change within the narratives of countries because of the advisory.
there is hope with this advisory opinion, and that we have a chance to kind of shift things around. And that shift started, and we saw that at COP30, there was a huge change within the narratives of countries that were made, the countries that were coming in with supporting the advisory and asking for the usage of the advisory opinion, and then also those that were blocking progress as well, being very conscious about the advisory opinion. So I think the potential for the opinion to shape climate politics and policy is huge, and I think that needs to be unlocked further.
Yeah, because in many ways, the advisory opinion, Ralph Regan Vanuatu's climate change minister said as much, was to give kind of small countries a stick, if you will, in these negotiations, right? And this COP, there seems to, from some large emerging countries especially, seems to have been somewhat of a regression in their stance compared to, say, 5 years ago. Did it feel like an opportune time to have this advisory opinion now? Because we are seeing some attitudes shift in ways the Pacific wouldn't like to see. Does having this advisory opinion in your arsenal now help give hope to what is a process a lot of people have lost faith in?
No, absolutely. I think there is a lot of despair, a lot of disappointment with existing processes, and I think that's exactly where the advisory opinion steps in. What we see right now is a need for people to first and foremost understand the power and potential of the advisory opinion, and I think that is a gap that exists and something that we need people to know, because the law is the law, and what we saw within the UNFCCC spaces is attempts by many countries to kind of undermine the law, but that doesn't stand. Regardless of how the law is treated within the UNFCCC, etc., the law remains the law. And that's what we want people to understand, is that despite what your interpretations are, your perspectives are on this, it does not matter. The world's highest court has made an authoritative statement that this is the state of law relating to climate. Now, the challenge there now is building that gap, building that awareness and knowledge on that this is how you can utilize it. I think the general discussion, and this is not to say that we're not to discount the very tense geopolitical state and time we're in at the moment, because a lot of what we're seeing in climate politics is a derivative of what the larger geopolitical tensions are. And so that's also playing out in that. But I think what advisory opinion is in all of this tense moment in this period is it adds that clarity. It provides that clarity that we need, that countries need on the direction ahead. We now know 1.5 is the primary temperature goal, as an example of what the ICJ said. That is now settled. And what we need now is existing infrastructure, institutions, policies, decisions to take that up. And that can only happen if we're able to kind of bridge the knowledge gap and draw more attention to what the advisory opinions, and which is what I think Minister Regan Vanu was talking about, relating to the UN General Assembly resolution that's going to be coming up as a way to kind of reinforce the arguments of the ICJ. But I think in this very tense moment, even with regression, some discussions around regression, the advisory opinion does bring hope, because now you have a baseline to actually measure and hold governments accountable to. And we've seen a lot of people reach out to us.
Vishal Prasad says there's disappointment with existing processes, and he believes that's where the advisory opinion steps in. Plans for a Pasifika-inspired building will soon enhance the Wellington city waterfront. The council has given the green lights for the Fale Malai, a Pacific cultural centre that will bring people together. Suana Ahulele has more.
The fale will be built on Frank Kitts Park, acknowledging the Pasifika communities who now call Aotearoa home. The 2023 census recorded just under 500,000 Pacific peoples live in Aotearoa. Fale Malai patron Luamano Vau Dame Winnie Laban says it's long overdue, taking the Trust years of planning and advocacy to get to this point.
We need a fale malai for Aotearoa, but more importantly for our region, to honour the enormous contribution that our people have made to this country.
She says the location is a popular spot with Wellingtonians who commute into the central business district.
It's a beautiful place on the waterfront. It's not tucked away. It's going to be very visible, alongside Whare Waka Te Papa, and also where Kupe is and on the ocean. And I really love that waterfront place for it, and it's appropriate that we're there.
With the land transfer and resource consent approved, Lua Manukau says the next phase in the process is the fundraising to complete the build.
We're also very committed to look at kind of eyeing a community type rates for some of our communities, and but still having the pragmatic business position of making sure that the bills are being paid, that the building continues to be used and maintained.
The fale will also be home to Pasifika art and function as an events and community centre.
200 young Cook Islanders gathered in Manukau recently, all dressed up to take to the stage for a performance to celebrate and share their culture. The students, aged between 5 and 15 years old, say learning the performing arts of their culture is a privilege. Tiana Hexton was there.
They've spent the past year learning under Hupa Hupa with Tautape, a dance program dedicated to give New Zealand-born Cook Islanders a strong grasp of their cultural heritage and traditions. The young dancers stepped out to perform in front of their metua, a packed audience of proud parents. After the show, the dancers celebrated, congratulating each other on a job well done.
Kia ora! Tonight we went to my show where my Cook Island practiced when I was dancing.
We did a performance for the parents.
I think it was really fun because it was our first time and we gave it our best shot.
I was so happy to see everybody out there. I was just a little nervous and then a little bit joyful.
I liked the classes because we made a couple new friends and we learned how to dance in the Cook Islands properly.
Just getting to learn new moves and that.
Learning about culture. To keep our culture alive, man. I think we should learn how to dance so that we can learn how to be respectful to our country.
Their tutor, Tautape Samson, grew up immersed in his Cook Islands culture, performing alongside his siblings for as long as he can remember. He says it is an honour to nurture his students' connection with their cultural heritage.
I'm just so happy to see the smiling faces, the joy, and all our tamariki. There's just no words to explain how happy I am to see them embrace our culture. A lot of them first time to come onto the stage and perform. So I'm happy that I could guide them and teach them to be confident, to stand in front of the people and perform.
Teaching the next generation is a responsibility he doesn't take lightly. Hupa Hupa with Tautape has been running for 3 years, and each year his curriculum has grown richer.
When I first started, it was to teach our tamariki the basics of ura. And so along the way, we got to extend that to teaching them a bit of our reo, a bit of our peu in terms of our akonoanga. Basically, HWT teaches everything that identifies as Cook Islands.
The families of the young dancers say the program is an essential tool to ensure Cook Islands culture lives on for future generations. Caroline Masters volunteered backstage to help her niece get stage ready. She is proud to see her take interest in her cultural heritage.
Oh my goodness, I was so proud of her. I got a little bit emotional a few times. Well, I believe strongly our culture, it makes a part, it shows our identity, who we are. And these are our future generations. And one day too, they'll be up over there leading as well.
As they grace the stage, these young Cook Islanders brought Samson Tautape's vision to life, strengthening the foundations of Cook Islands dance in New Zealand for another generation to come. The young performers danced, sung and embraced their peo tupuna, the culture and traditions of their ancestors.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, have a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and I'll see you in 2026. Tō whā, soifua.